everyone, thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop here on YouTube. We're all having a great day. So today we're going to be talking about Vicious Spirits by Cat Cho. It's a sequel to Wicked Fox. If you saw my review for Wicked Fox, you know that I thoroughly enjoyed that novel. I loved this introduction into Korean folklore very much. In fact, I loved it so much, I went in and I bought, for my birthday, I went and bought a nine-tailed stone. It's obsidian rainbow, and it's a nine-tailed fox. So that's how much I enjoyed Wicked Fox, that I was so inspired to kind of learn more of Korean folklore, because I do love folklore, very much so. I love exploring other cultures, mythologies, and folklores, and that kind of stuff. So I was really intrigued with Vicious Spirits. I really like this novel because we get to see more of Juno and Sumin. Sumin is the lifelong friend of Ji-hoon, and Juno is the Dokkaebi, Korean goblin, but he's a specific type of goblin, so he's very handsome. And his relationship with Myung. You know, before we really only saw these characters as side characters, we understood sort of the superficial aspect of their relationships with these characters. There wasn't, I'm not saying that there wasn't any depth to their relationships in the first novel. There was depth, especially with Sumin, but here we got to see way more of Juno as well. So I really did appreciate that aspect in the storytelling. I really liked it. Sorry, I'm gonna work out after this video, which is why I'm in my gym clothes. And my hair is starting to drive me a little crazy. But anyway, so I mean, that's something that I really took away from this novel, you know, the exploration of these characters in this series, because we really didn't get to see a whole lot of them in the first novel. I mean, we understood their relationship with these characters on not a superficial level. It wasn't superficial, like I said, there's depth to them, but we get to see more depth, I should say, you know, especially with Sumin is concerned. She's a character I was really able to connect to, because she is this girl, you know, she has a very strong relationship with her mother. She looks after Ji-hoon as if he's her little brother, and I think what's really compelling about the relationship is here in this novel we get to explore Sumin's inner thoughts. We get to see her inner thoughts. We get to, well, we get to learn a little bit more about her. You know, she puts a lot, it's like she has a box, and she just kind of stuffs all her feelings in the box so she can put other people first. You know, as commendable as that is, we do get to see the detrimental effects of it, because you need to be able to, I think, allow yourself to feel. And Juno does that, you know, he tells her as much. He says, you know, it's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to have dreams and try to go get them. You know, your world doesn't revolve around everybody else. You know, and I think for her, that's such a hard concept for her to grasp, because she did lose her father at a very young age. Her mother was very young when she had her, and their relationship has been more like sisters. And, you know, her and Ji-hoon, they kind of have mirror lives almost, except one's good. One was a good reflection and one was a bad reflection. You know, both moms had their kids at young ages, and both kids lost their dads at the same time, except for Jihoon. His dad went to prison. And him and his mother had a very explosive, abusive, kind of violent atmosphere. Whereas with Sumin, her parents were loving. They loved each other. They showed nothing but affection for Sumin. So they have like mirror lives almost, but they're so different. And Sumin feels guilty for that, even though she has nothing to feel guilty for. She has all this pent up guilt, and she just kind of locks everything away. Like I said, she puts everything away in a little box to try to take care of other people. And I really do like that about her. It does make her commendable as a character, and it does, it does relate to me, because I kind of have that same sort of relationship with my mom. She had me at a young age, but it's complicated. I think it's both Jihoon and Sumin's lives kind of merged into one, and then you have my life. But I do have a very good relationship with my mother. She is very much like my sister, but I would be the mature one. I tell her all the time she has Peter Pan syndrome, and she calls me mom. So we kind of have that sort of relationship, the same kind of relationship that Sumin kind of has with her mother. And I was able to connect to it, that's what I'm trying to say. For me, as a reader, I love being able to connect to my stories. And this is one that I was able to really connect to on an emotional and real level, because it's like, oh, I can totally relate. I love when there are situations in novels where you can just say in your head, like, oh, I can totally relate. I went through something almost like this. I like that, And I think what Kat Cho does with her stories is, yes, it's fantasy, but there's so much realism in the story to make it relatable to the reader. And you get to see that with the Juno as well. I mean, he didn't ask to be what he is, a Dokabi. He didn't ask for it. He was just a boy in love with a girl. That's it. That's all he was. Boy in love with a girl. And it kind of backfired on him. I don't want to give anything away because there's so much history to it. There's a lot of development to it. I really loved that relationship between those two characters. I thought it was very well done. And I loved the inserts. We really do get to see more of Juno in this story. And those inserts, like with the first novel, those inserts explore more of the Gumiho folklore. They explore Yena, without telling you it's Yena until like the very end. You get to explore more about Juno's life and his feelings and why he is the way he is. But he grows so much in this novel. Like, he is such an amazing character, and I love these inserts. I think Kat Cho does a brilliant job with her storytelling, because these inserts, these one page and a half inserts, they break up the story. You're breaking up the story, but you're not disrupting the pace of it. Sometimes when authors do that, they create this sort of wall between the reader and the story, because it's just like you're kind of ruining the pacing of it. Cho doesn't do that. They flow, and they keep the momentum and the intrigue of the story up, is what I want to say. The pacing isn't disrupted, and the story is not disrupted either. You're just kind of engaged more. You're captivated even more, because you're learning a little bit more about another character, about the folklore surrounding this character's origins. And I think that's really interesting. There's so much that happens. There's so much that goes on. But it's so easy to follow, and I think Kat Cho is a really good storyteller because of that, because she's able to break up the story without creating this barrier between the reader and the story. You know, like I said, sometimes when authors do that, it kind of backfires because it's very jarring when that happens. You're like, okay, wait, what is going on? I've read some books like that where I'm just like, what is the point of this? You know, sometimes the inserts have no real merit to the story. But I think here we get to see the merit. You know, it does add more to the story. It adds more depth, it adds more creativity, it adds more imagination of folklore to the overall story. So you're more engaged in the events that are happening. You get to understand him more as a character, Juno as a character, and I really think that's great. And the story itself, oh, so good. Yeah, the characters are great, and I love the dynamics of them as well. You know, I love how there's more depth to them. But what I think is really interesting is I don't want to give anything away. Like, I'm trying to form my words for you so I don't give anything away. I mean, it ties a lot to Wicked Fox. I also don't want to give away. I felt like I've already given a little bit too much away with Wicked Fox because it was such a good story. But a lot of what happens in this novel does tie into the events of that novel. You know, you really get to see the ramifications of everything that happened in that first novel. And they're kind of mind-blowing. They're really unexpected and unpredictable. Like, I would have never thought, oh my god, so that's what happened because of this. Would have never thought of it. And you know, that's what I enjoyed about it. You know, the story keeps you on the edge of your seat. It does keep the momentum up. It's a great story. And much like the first novel, it does capture the passage of time quite well. It's a shorter range of time in this novel, but it just moves like bam, bam, bam. You know, it's really well done. And I also have to say, I love the ending, you know, because it leaves you with a sense of hope. You know, there's so much that has happened to these characters. You know, there's a lot of grief, a lot of anger, a lot of loss, a lot of pain. But at the end of this novel, there's like a sense of hope to it. You know, you've opened Pandora's box, but you're left with hope. You know, and I thought that was really good because they've been through so much, and it's like all the characters are saying, all right, we've been through all of this. We've been through it all. Let's put it behind us and let's move forward together. You know, I love that. It was such a great, uplifting way to end the series after everything that's happened. And I think that's incredible. You know, it really does give a good ending to the series, I think. And if it's not an ending, there's going to be a book 3, who knows? I don't think it's necessary. But if there is, you know, I think it would also be interesting. But, you know, I think it's good to end on this note. You know, I think it's a good high note for this series, and it, like I said, it leaves you with hope at the end. So this was Vicious Spirits by Ketchum. I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 stars. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, there will be a link in the description below. If money's tight, you know, check out the book from your local library. I definitely highly recommend the library. I think it's a great resource for the community, and it definitely deserves all of our support. And I hope you will support me by liking this channel, liking this video, and subscribing to my channel. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.